If you were to ask me, what has been the biggest thing that I have learned in the last 8 years of my life? Because the last 8 years of my life encompass the time that I've known my husband. We've been married for 4 years next month. And if you were to ask me what the biggest thing is that I've learned or that I wish that I had known back then, it was the truth about emotions. I have for a long time viewed negative emotions as the enemy. Whenever I would feel frustrated about something, I didn't want to give it space in my mind because I was afraid that it would grow and it would take me over. I was afraid that if I let any of my anger, if I delved into my anger to find out what was going on, that it would take me over. I was afraid that if I gave fear voice, I would drown. When you are in a marriage where depression shows up with suicidal thoughts, or when anxiety comes up and stops you as a couple from social interactions that you yourself value, resentment from failed expectations, if you will, can skyrocket. I thought I knew what would happen when I got married because I'd already known him for 4 years when we got married. And we had been through a lot together at that point, and so I just assumed that us being married would magically fix everything. And that everything would be okay, and I would just handle it with amazing aplomb. But what I realized is that I was immature because I'd never been married before, and I didn't know what I was doing. And that I had so much to learn because life is life. And it's meant to be embraced and felt. And I didn't know how to feel emotion because I thought if I felt emotion, if I gave it space, that it would take me over. And it did because I never felt it and I never gave it space. I never realized that feeling emotion, feeling anger, feeling resentment, feeling frustration or fear did not make me a bad person. It did not mean I lacked faith. What it meant was I was human, having a hard moment. So if you're in a spot in this moment where you are afraid of your feelings, please embrace them. Because when we truly embrace emotion is when we then process emotion and we understand the impact it's having on our thoughts, in our feelings, in our reactions. And then once we have understanding, we can let it go. Do you realize that we hold on to the things we don't understand and the things we fear? And we hold them with a depth grip because we're afraid that if we don't hold on to them, they'll get away from us or they'll control us. But it's in the understanding that we control them. So if you're in a place today where you have been afraid of feeling, I would invite you to find a quiet moment and feel. Embrace the feeling. Let it wash over you, because if it stays, that's okay. It will eventually go away. And if the feeling of it allows it to dissipate, that's good too. Because when you feel, you take upon yourself mortality. You expand your experience and your empathy and your knowledge because you allowed yourself to feel. So I'd invite you to try a little exercise. Sit down and write down 3 emotions you felt today and figure out what brought them up. Because as you start feeling things, you'll understand that If you're having an interaction with your spouse or a child or a neighbor and stuff comes up, it doesn't have to do so much with that interaction as with the memory of interactions like that from your past. So figure out what it is that's bringing stuff up for you so that you can feel, thank them for being there and letting them go. And as you do, as I did, I found out I wasn't ruled by them anymore. I wasn't overwhelmed by them anymore. I could just let them be. And when I let myself feel, I was able to be there for someone else who was afraid to feel. As I embraced what was going on for me, I wasn't afraid to help someone else embrace what was going on for them. And the thing that I have found in coping with mental illness in my marriage, a lot of it is fear. Fear that life will be different. Fear of expectations missed. Fear that you couldn't come back for it, and the good times will never come again and the bad times will stay forever. Life is life. It comes and it goes, it ebbs and it flows. And the more you embrace the moment, whether it's good or bad, the more you feel and the more you move forward. Thank you for joining me. And I am so excited to see you next week, where we can keep learning and keep growing. Bye!